This video is to show you how to order show services. We'll start out by opening our job folder, and we're going to look at our quote so that we can see what services we need to order. Okay. So we can see that we have electrical, ceiling lights, and rigging for the hanging sign. So let's go to the show website. We're going to search for MRO Americas, the show. Go to exhibitor resources. And sometimes they'll have a link to go to the Freeman site. That's what we're trying to get to, is the Freeman online ordering. And actually for the electrical and maybe a few of the other things, we'll be going to the OCCC online ordering, which is the convention center. And typically the convention centers themselves independently offer things like electrical, AV, sometimes rigging as well. So I'll show you how to get to the Freeman online page without going to the show website. I just wanted to show you that this is sometimes an option. So we go to this link that I have saved here. You'll want to save it as well. And sometimes if you're doing this with GES, you would use this link that I have saved. You'll want to have those saved for easy access. But we'll go to Freeman because we know it's Freeman. And we can search for MRO Americas. And there's our show. We'll go into here, and what we're looking for is shop products and services. Okay, so we're going to look for, we'll start with electrical. So we're going to look for our electrical ordering. And it seems like, yeah. So it says non-Freeman services. So these are going to be the services that are offered by the convention center, the OCCC. And you can see we have aerial lighting, electrical, and rigging. So everything that we're going to be ordering here as far as services go is going to be from the OCCC rather than from Freeman. So these links are going to take us to a different site. So we'll just navigate through here and make our way to where we need to be. So we want to see about, let's do the OCC ordering information. So this opens up a form, and a lot of times they'll give you something like this, and this actually isn't a form, this is just showing you the information, and I think there's a link right here. You can see order online. Click that. Okay, so we're at the OCCC website. Order services. Okay, so now we're going to find our show. Search MRO. There we go. Go to the store. And log in. And our booth number is 1017. Okay. So this is helpful. We can see that we have a advanced pricing deadline of April 2nd and an ordering deadline. All orders must be in by April 22nd. Okay, so we'll navigate down here. We'll see, let's look at electrical. We always are going to be ordering 120 volt power. That's the standard power. unless specifically a client has needs for any other type of power, 120 volt is going to be what we use to power everything. That's your standard outlet voltage. Okay, so let's see. So these, you can see here that they have several different options. You've got 5 amp, 10 amp. These are ceiling drop and floor drops. You can get some extension cords if you need to. Let's look back at our order and see if it tells us how much power to order. And it doesn't. So what we can do is, we know that there was an electrical drawing already made. The electrical drawing is always going to tell us how much power is needed for the booth. So we can go into our show folder to find that. Drawings and floor plans. And here we have the electrical layout. We'll open that. You can see here, main drop, 1000 watts. So there's always going to be a main drop with a line or arrow pointing to a dot on the drawing. That's going to tell us where the main source of power is going to go to in the booth. And it's going to tell us how much is going to go to that main drop. And the main drop wattage is always going to be the total wattage for the entire booth. So we have 1000 watts going into this booth. So we'll go to our drawing. We know that 10 amps gives us 1000 watts. Essentially, you take the amperage, so say 5 amps or 10 amps, and you multiply by 100, and that gives you the wattage that you will receive from that outlet. So if we want 1000 watts, we're going to get a 10 amp outlet. If we wanted 2000 watts, we could get a 20 amp outlet, or we could get two 10 amp outlets. But you can see that it's much cheaper to get one 20 amp outlet than it is to get two 10 amp outlets. So that's just an example, but we're going to go with 10 amp outlet, and we're going to go with the floor placement rather than having it drop from the ceiling. We don't want a ceiling drop this time. So we'll click on that. And we only want one quantity. So we'll add that to our cart. Okay. Now we can go and we can add other things to our cart. So we are going to be doing some rigging. See what the rigging items are. And these are going to be both the things that we're going to use. According to our quote, we're ordering 2 ceiling lights and 1 rigging service for 1 hanging sign. So, let's start with our hanging sign. So we need to fill out some of the details about our hanging sign. We can open up the hanging sign, the rigging layout, to see the dimensions of the hanging sign. There we go. So you can see here there's some notes off to the side and some dimensions drawn as well. And I can open up the other rigging layout that will show us even more information. You can see the height of the sign, the height of the tower beneath the sign, space between the top of the tower and the bottom of the sign, the height that the top of the sign will be at. This is all useful information for this ordering process. So we've got our size of the sign, the first thing that we need here. We can see that right here, 180 inches by 180 inches by 42 inches tall. So it's a square sign, 180 inch square sign that's 42 inches tall. So we'll type that in here. The weight. The weight is interesting because we don't always know the weight of the sign, especially if we have a an instance like this where we're using a hanging sign that the client already owns. So we have no real way of knowing what the actual weight of the sign is. Now for this, generally it's safe to say that most hanging signs are going to weigh about 100 pounds or less, especially these relatively average sized signs. A much larger sign would be likely to be maybe slightly over 100 pounds, but I think it's fair to say that this sign, being made of light materials like aluminum and fabric, is going to be right around 100 pounds. So we can put 100 pounds there. It's okay to guess on things like this when it's such a low weight, because what they really care about is items that weigh a lot, things like hanging video walls and other electronic signs that are going to have significantly more weight, that would require significantly more support and cabling and all that. So for this, 100 pounds is a safe bet. Quantities, we have one sign. Trim height is actually the height, the distance from the ground to typically it's from the ground to the bottom of the sign, but you can see here it says to the top of the sign. So what they're asking for, I believe, and they'll correct me if this information is wrong, they're asking for this right here, this 240 inches from the ground to the top of the sign. Okay, so we're going to type in 240 inches. No, the sign is not electric. Desired install date. Now, let's look at our quote and see what day we are installing this booth. So we plan to install on Sunday, April 25th. And so we need to verify if that is the first day of install or the last day of install, because ideally we would like to have this sign installed on maybe a day or two before the last day of install. So let's look at our quick facts. Okay. So we can see that Sunday, April 25th is a good day to have a sign installed. Tuesday is not an option because that's also a show day. So Monday is the last day of install. And so that plan works out well. We have the sign installed on Sunday, April 25th, and then we have the rest of the booth installed on Monday, April 26th. So we're going to say Sunday, April 25th. Okay. So that looks good. Add that to cart. And then we'll look at these overhead lights. So we're going to have 2 of those. We're going to add those to the cart. Okay. So now let's have a look at our cart and see that we've got our one 10 amp outlet. We've got our hanging sign rigging. And we've got our aerial park hand lighting. So we'll go to pre-checkout. And this part is important because they want us to upload the files that we were just looking at that show measurements and details about where we want our electrical, where we want our hanging sign placed, where we want our overhead lights placed. So we're going to go ahead and upload those files. There's our electrical layout. There's our overhead lighting layout. And then our 2 rigging layouts. So as you can see, they only allow up to 3 files to be uploaded at a time. So what that means is that we're going to have to reconfigure these orders and maybe do 2 separate orders. So I think what I'm going to do, so I'll go back to my cart. I'm going to remove the electrical from this order. Mainly because that one I didn't really have to enter in any information, but I did have to enter a bunch of information for the rigging. So I don't want to have to enter that again. I'll just do the rigging, the hanging sign rigging and the park hand light in the same order. That way I can upload the files that I need to upload, and then I'll do a separate order for electrical. Okay, so I'll just delete this electrical layout. So now we have our overhead lighting layout, our rigging layout number 1, and now rigging layout number 2. There we go. Alright, so the banner name of the booth is Professional Aircraft Accessories. Width of the booth is 20 feet. Length of the booth is 20 feet. And we're going to check out. Okay, so make sure all of this is correct and place the order. Okay. So typically what I'll do is once I get that confirmation email, I will take a screenshot of that and save it into the drive. We'll do that later if I get the email soon. So next we're going to go back and we're going to order the electrical. So it takes you back to the beginning here. Go through, find your store, sign in again. Okay. The 120 volt 10 amp floor outlet. Add to cart. Upload our electrical layout. And it saved all that information from before, so we'll go to checkout. and place that order. So we've now placed the order for all of our show services. We're going to go through the process of filling out the EAC form. So we've got our link right here. Copy that. Okay. Event. MRO Americas 2021. You're a contractor. Name of exhibitor is Professional Aircraft Accessories. Booth number 1017. Total square feet is 400 because that's 20 feet times 20 feet. Select I&D Contractor and Design House. Company name is Exhibit People. Insurance company, ELB Insurance Group. Matt LaBruza is the contractor contact. We can get our contact exhibitor information from our workbook. So we can see here our contact is Casey Baker. And we'll just put this address, this billing address. Copy that. Paste. That is in Wichita. Kansas. Six 7206. Her phone number is here. And her email address is here. Okay, so we need a certificate of insurance to complete this. So we will need to get in contact with our insurance and use that sample certificate that we acquired earlier, and we'll get that certificate of insurance sent to us, filled out by our insurance company, and upload it here. Okay, so now we can go ahead and upload our certificate of insurance. We want this one that says complete. Okay, so we'll just have a look, make sure that we got everything. I think we're good to submit that. Okay, so then we want to print this receipt to show that they received our insurance info. So let's see. You can print this page as a PDF. Go to our show folder. Name it that and save it. So next we want to do our method of payment. Right here. And so sometimes you go to the form for method of payment and it's not actually a form, it just has this link for Freeman Pay. Seems like Freeman is starting to move towards this online version of method of payment. So we can just click that. It'll take us to this online form. And so this is going to act as both our method of payment and also our third-party authorization. Third-party authorization allows us to pay for things on behalf of our client. So we almost always, unless the show for some reason doesn't require it, we're almost always going to be looking for and filling out a third-party authorization form. So we're going to select this option that says I am an exhibitor appointed contractor and I am ordering and paying on behalf of the exhibitor. We're going to enter the information for our client. So the third-party name is Exhibit People. Matt LaBruza is the contact. Address. City. Okay, now for this specific one, we're only going to be paying for material handling, so we'll select that. Now we need to enter in our client's information. So we're going to say their company name, and Casey Baker is the contact. Booth number 1017, 20 by 20 booth. Company address is in our workbook here. Wichita, Kansas. And that is 67206. Oops. Phone number 316 213 9280. So here my screen recorder reached its time limit and cut out, and I wasn't able to capture the end of me filling out that method of payment. But essentially I just finished out with that form, entering in the client information. It took me to a screen where I entered in the credit card information for payment, and that was it. After that, I was sent an email with a confirmation for that method of payment and third-party request, and then the client was also sent a confirmation about that third-party request. I saved both my confirmation, and once the client received their confirmation, I saved that as well into the drive, and that was the end of that.